Everybody, welcome to J.C.B. TV. I am your host, J.C. Baker. We go out and we find some of the most unique leaders that are out here today. These are some of the most extraordinary people that you won't just be able to find in your normal habitats, but we go and we look in the city, we look in the field, we look in the suburb, we look in the urban areas to be able to find out who's making a difference in a real way. So on today's journey, we're gonna look at Manuel Foggie. He's a 19-year-old running for city council in the city of Cincinnati, Ohio. We're really excited to be able to follow him today because we'll see what it's like for a 19-year-old to not just be able to juggle work, but also be able to juggle school and to be able to juggle the problems that this Cincinnati metropolitan area has. He's a fantastic person. He's homegrown. He's extremely humble, but he's a leader that you out there need to hurry up and familiarize yourself with. So we're here on Bay Miller in New York, right in the heart of Cincinnati, and I'm here with Manuel Foggie. It's a long O, so don't get that messed up or twisted. We're here in your old neighborhood, man. Hewlin, just kind of walk me through here, man. We've got historical Cincinnati here. We've got a field over here. What used to happen over here in this field?
So right here in this field, we used to play football every day after school. So there'd be about 6 of us. We played, throw the football up and just run and tackle each other.
Okay, fantastic, man. So you were a little rough kid growing up.
Oh yeah, you had to be down here.
Right?
Yeah.
So you say rough neighborhood, had to be rough growing up, right?
You had to be rough growing up. You had it brought the personality, and you actually found out who you was in your neighborhood. You got your name recognition there.
You know what, man? That's a really good point when you're talking about making a name for yourself,
Yeah.
right? So even as something as simple as playing, tackle football out in a lot, you was able to make a name for yourself. So you fast forward about 10 years or so, right?
Yeah.
And so now you're running for city council.
Yeah.
You think about leadership and you think about tomorrow's leaders and even today's leaders. What does a 19, 20-year-old think about running for city council when you come from a place like this?
We have to take the baton from the older generations that have been running the race for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get a time where yourself, you're not going to be able to do the things that you was doing when you was 19, 20. So it's time for my generation to take the baton and run as fast as you did and run with you to create solutions that's going to be better for our society and that everyone can participate in. Because one thing that as a young person, we feel that we're not recognized or we can't actually go to you and actually talk smart things with you without you saying, oh, having a better idea than we have.
Right,
So,
right.
And I want to be that face, like, just step out there and just be yourself. And you're gonna learn while you're making mistakes. And that's one thing I learned from my time being down here playing football, because you're gonna mess up playing football,
Right?
and you learn, and you ain't gonna mess up again because you're not gonna get tackled.
Well, who were you raised by down here in these areas?
Just my mom.
Okay.
And it was me and my mom and my little brother. We all stayed in a two-bedroom apartment. And, every day my mom went to work and me and my brother went to school up the street.
Really? So think about that. You're running for city council. You come from Cincinnati. There's a lot of people that just remember you being Manuel, in elementary school or Manuel in middle school. Let's say you are elected. Let's say you have the opportunity to get into office and be able to make a change here. Think about the concept that you might be paving the way for even your mom, who theoretically at your age you should still kind of be listening to.
Right.
But talk to me about that dynamic.
When elected to office, I just want to make sure Cincinnati is a place that everyone can call home no matter what. That we have a Cincinnati that everyone can have resources to. Everyone don't feel left out the picture. Like I said, we're going to learn through our mistakes, and I want to make sure that everyone is learning together as a city, and that we're not displacing the love of every neighborhood, because behind every neighborhood is a love.
Now you talk about behind every neighborhood, being loved. Now I come from Detroit, and Detroit has had its problems. I love my home, even though Cincinnati is now home to me here. But I want to point out a few things. Like we've got some open lots out here. We've got an open lot here. We've got an abandoned building right behind us here. What does this look like to you, knowing that this is the neighborhood that you grew up in? You talking about, how can I come in and make a difference in my city and in my community? Well, what efforts need to be done in areas such as this one?
So we need to bring the community back together, because it's the grassroots that the community got so out of touch with itself that we don't know who we are as a community. So we're not having developers develop in the communities, because why develop in a community that doesn't have an investment itself. So we need to actually get the community together and round them up and say, take care of your land and take care of your property, because different neighborhoods are going to have different types of needs. So my Hyde Park is going to have a different need than my West End Cincinnati have, and that's because Hyde Park have a tight, close relationship, and here down in the West End, we don't have a tight, close relationship with our residents. So our residents have to come together and build on their city before we actually, as a city leader, can come in and say, okay, we're going to keep building in this neighborhood. So I want to start with the grassroots of every issue.
Well, you know what? I want to talk about your classmates. You know, we saw you in school earlier today. That was fantastic. Had a great opportunity to meet with some of your professors. And in that, I mean, how do the students feel that are old enough to vote and want to be able to exercise that vote? How do they feel about having a person running for city council in their classes?
They love it because they feel that they have a leader that they can actually say they know and they can talk to and actually can voice their opinion to and come up with solutions together. And when everyone in class say who's going to take the lead, they always look to me and say, you leaders on this way. You already stepped up into a higher government. So I feel that my classmates have a higher standard than any other classmates in the class, and I'm always the first to be volunteered to complete a task. And I like that about my peers because that shows a person inside of me that someone can trust. And if my classmates can trust me inside, I hope every other resident around my age can trust me as well.
Well, you know what do you think that does for being a peer role model? You know, whereas, yes, we know Manuel can do these things because we know he has it in him, but maybe I have it inside of myself as well. I'm actually looking at a guy that's my same age, in my same grade, in my class, dealing with the same struggles, you know, whether those struggles are, you know, what am I going to eat later on today, what video game I may be playing, where am I going out on a Friday night, what are my other friends doing. We got scenarios where you might actually change how they see the world in that instance. Does that happen sometimes?
It do, all the time. And it happened with myself, with Joel Jones from Inkster, Michigan.
Okay.
He was the one that ran for Cincinnati City Council when he was 19 years old. And now he's a 20-year-old state representative.
Okay, fantastic. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of J.C.B. TV. Having the opportunity to be able to speak with Manuel Foggie and be able to learn about what drives him, what things are important to him. I mean, you're talking about a young person who is certified as a firefighter even before the time he graduated from high school. A person that is also a certified private investigator. I mean, think about that, before he left high school. And now he's finishing his bachelor's degree at Mount St. Joe College in Cincinnati, Ohio. But some of the things that he's focusing on for the people in this region, such are job creation, housing, education, innovation and technology, and greener technology for the people here to be able to continue to have sustainable jobs. I mean, thinking about those concepts as a teenager is phenomenal. He also told me, even off the camera, that one of his goals is to become the president of the United States. Now, think about that journey that he has. He understands that he needs to plan for that early, and that's what a leader does. A leader will understand their carbon life, be able to have a path, and then they take the steps forward in order to be able to accomplish that goal. Next week's episode, we have a great one for you, is with the Female Founder Group, starring Christy Brown. And this is a group of remarkable young ladies who are taking the tech sector by storm. They've got great ideas, but not only do they have great ideas, they have great companies. And they're leading these companies into the next century with technologies that are going to change how we do business, how we live our lives, how we even see the world. I can't wait for you guys to be able to see the next episode of J.C.B. TV. And in the meantime, continue to press forward, believe, and become.